evening, and welcome to tonight's episode of Hey Sister. Hey Sister, how you doing?
Hello, good evening, salutations.
I had to go grab these headphones, so hopefully you can hear me well. Because we have a little action going over here in the
And do,
house.
honey. Oh, listen, honey. I'm changing over cameras, so it might have to get changed over again in a second.
Oh well, hey, and
Had a whole lot happening in the background. I was like, okay, I know we ain't seen the movie before, but my God.
so just for point of reference, you're like, what are they talking about? Well, we are rewatching here The Sinners, which is the movie of the year as far as I'm concerned. It is
Did we
not.
ever, so we ain't even talk about sinners either, right?
I don't. Did have we ever talked about Sinners? I
I
don't
don't feel
know.
like we did. I don't know. I can't remember. I don't feel like we really dealt because the last two times. So last week we had Nicole. A few weeks back we had I'm blanking
Sanibel.
on Annabelle. I don't know that we ever gave a full center. Somebody let us know if we had that conversation.
Child, if not, we'll save it to the end because we'll talk about it if we need to. Like in typical Hey Sister fashion, we ask that you like, follow, share, subscribe. Tell a friend that you tune in and watch Hey Sister. Join the conversation in the comments, and also you can subscribe to our web page. So, sister,
Yes, ma'am.
tonight I was like, and I don't know who's going to join us live during the show. You might watch it in the replay, but please get in the comments. We do reply. And we want to be engaged with you in that way. So if you're tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from. We're glad to have you. But tonight, child, the world is whirling. Like we always want to say life is life. And child, I don't think it's life. I think it's these people out here. See, I got my wine. Made my little own fashion, my own sangria for the night.
Did you just put one fruit in it or just
No, this one is sticking up because there's something else on the bottom, so that's why.
okay?
So
Enjoy.
yes, fine as wine is what it say, child, and we need some tonight because the way this world is whirling and the people of this world. But I know one thing for sure: I'm in this world, but I'm not of this world. How about that? Whoop whoop. Holla back. Whoop,
Amen.
whoop. Hey, holla back.
Serve
Whoop,
a
whoop.
powerful God.
Yes, we
I
do.
mean, yeah.
You better get that, catch that if you ain't caught it up. Is there? Bam. So tonight is just going to be an evening of hot topics. We have a few kind of big things that have been circulating in the news. As we said, we've missed some things because we haven't been coming every week. We're being in the flow with Hey Sister, right? We are
Yeah.
being whimsical and in the flow of things and just getting in and as we felt moved and led. So, but tonight we were like, we got to get on because this first hot topic. Let me tell y'all something. I am sick and tired. Now we can go back to our previous election episode, an episode when this administration began. And we said from the very beginning, this a bromance between Elon Musk and Donald Trump is not going to last long. We gave it about 6 months. I think we gave it about 6 months.
I
And
wanted to go back and find it because I felt like we did.
yeah, I think it's about 6 months. And so we think from the election time frame to now, I mean, maybe they had a little more than 6 months, but actual working in this administrative capacity, baby, it's been less than five, maybe four, maybe 4.3. Whatever it is, it didn't last very long, but we knew it wasn't going to last long. So it's the battle of the inflated egos. And folks have all these think pieces, and I've seen videos and I've seen people kikiing and ha-haing about it. But I'm just going to state this for the record. Elon Musk got exactly what he wanted.
Mhm.
He has access to all of our information. He got inside the Social Security Administration, the Internal Revenue Service. He got inside of all the departments. You name the department: Department of Health, Department of Education, Department of Defense. He got into all of the departments, Veterans Administration. And he got access to what? Information. Access to what? Systems. Someone who was not congressionally approved, someone who was in a made up office, and who had rando people laying on the floor, working in these offices, getting into their computer systems, being demanded to provide them what? Access to data. And if you're in the tech industry and you're a tech billionaire, what's the most commodifiable thing you can have right now?
Data.
Data. He won. So it's fine that the bromance is over and that they're fighting with each other and people want to hi and key. He has gotten everything that he needs. And now Trump's gonna say, oh, we're gonna cancel your contract or we're gonna cancel whatever. It doesn't matter. He has all of our data. I know that's my take. What say you, sister?
You know, the sad thing is, although we did say that we expected it to last no more than about 6 months, I can't even call it if it's real or not, because there's so much deception and there's so many lies that, you know, they may be bad actors, but they may be actors nonetheless. This could they could just be putting on because, as we know, typically, I mean, this bill that was supposedly at the heart of all this was done in the dead of night. And so it just goes to show that what we, the people, want is not important. It is about whatever they want to do to make their lives, their existence better. And so I don't know. I don't even know if I can trust that there is a real rift in their relationship, because if there is, it's not going to. They're not going to suddenly just do the right thing for the sake of doing the right thing. They're still just going to be awful human beings, and just now, like you said, have all of our data in the process. They'll be awful human beings and say, I'm no longer going to allow you to have this contract, this government contract. But then who does that hurt? He's already a multi-billionaire. Who does that hurt if the government contracts then fall out? It's the everyday average people. We already have an oversaturation of people in the marketplace looking for employment. If another government agency is destroyed as a result of their personal rift, their personal infighting, again, it doesn't impact them, it impacts us. So you're right, he won. He wanted to purchase the presidency because it was the only thing he could do, sans run himself, because he can't, because he's not a U.S. citizen.
There you go.
So he got the presidency that he wanted, and at the end of the day, he knows that he has the financial power to continue to get his way, whether or not they like each other or not.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see how this all pans out. What I know for sure is that folks need to take a real, I mean, like, we haven't even been in this administration for a year.
I feel like we keep saying that every time that we
haven't been in this administration for 6 months.
Not 6 full months. No, we keep pushing the goalpost because it's so unbelievable. Like, honestly, dude, I don't care if you selling your Tesla, it ain't worth nothing right now. No way. So if you selling it and you don't drive it, no way. So who cares? It's like, tell me something. And that's the thing. Like, again, Elon Musk, he's in the Epstein, talking about Trump. He's in the Epstein files. That's why it hadn't come out. Yeah, water is wet as well. Like, news flash, we all knew that already. You're not telling us anything that we didn't already know.
Right.
And
So if you're going to tell us something material or significant, please tell us something material or significant. But you're
right,
not going to do that because then we
it'll
would know what
implicate you too.
you would implicate yourself, and we know all what you have access to.
And what drug is he on now? Ketamine, is it? What is it?
Yeah, the same drug that Matthew Perry
Just
died from
walked away.
overdosing on ketamine.
Yeah. All right. I, I'm just
Now, again, it has been prescribed to help people with certain addiction issues or certain issues, mental health issues, what have you. I don't know. But all of the extreme behavior, we also know he has whatever probably issues from a developmental standpoint, whatever. Um, uh, and self-medicating or being again treating with unscrupulous people never leads to anything good. So
right, because I was about to say you can find a doctor to prescribe anything. We already seen that. We saw that with Matthew Perry. We saw that with Michael Jackson. The doctor can prescribe anything. That doesn't
we
mean,
saw that with Prince.
yeah, that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that that's the best route to take. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, listen, it's two narcissists. So we knew the fallout was coming. We just all, we should have just had some bets on if
And
I'm
there probably was some odds maker out there,
there.
and I wish we would have put a die, put five on it because we probably would have won something. But I also want to pick up on this one video that I saw, and I don't remember where, but the gentleman was talking about using the euphemism "the girls are fighting," and he was like, "No, the girls are not fighting. Like we're gonna stop belittling and demeaning women because actually women they communicate.
Mhm.
This is the battle of the inflated egos. This is the battle of the boisterous billionaires. This is the battle of men
No, not the
who
boisterous billionaires plural, baby. There's only one billionaire in that conversation.
well the boisterous well no, I think he's becoming a billionaire with his Trump crypto.
Girl, okay,
Girl, anyway, like I said, don't put that. No, that's not how women fight.
correct.
So I'll just leave it at that. Hey, sister, how are you? Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you share it what's on your page so others can tune in with you and join the conversation in the comments, honey. So protests in Los Angeles. So this past week, and you mentioned Xanabel earlier. We talked about immigration. We talked about what is happening in terms of these ICE raids
Mhm.
across the country. And when we talked to her a couple months ago, um, things were slowly, happening in places where they were coming into schools or they were coming into um, people's places of employment, and it's like this slow trickle. Then I think last week was it in Ohio? I can't remember. It might have been Ohio, whatever. Someone was they were out there and the people started chanting shame, like from Game of Thrones, shame, shame, shame. So it was snowballing and snowballing, and now we're on full fledged protests in Los Angeles with people who are um, saying no, you're not going to just take people, you're not going to grab people away from their families like this, you're not going to take babies out of their mother's arms. And we're in some full-fledged protests. Most of the protests are peaceful, but of course one Mr. White House resident wants to escalate and says he's going to send in the National Guard. um, I watched this video of this gentleman, and he was in tears because he works at a school, and a nearby school, he was like, their school went on lockdown because ICE came in. So it was that school's graduation ceremony, elementary school graduation. and how parents fled because they left their kids at the school. They were trying to get away. And he was like, I didn't know this was going to affect me like this. And he was in tears. He was like, I cannot believe this, that these people are having to flee this supposedly celebratory moment for their children.
Right.
And it's like, I mean, literally, they are showing up. They tell people, do it the right way. These people are doing it the right way, and they're going to their court proceedings, and you're capturing them and detaining them. And then to top it all off, I know I'm talking a lot, but it's just so infuriating. The gentleman from Maryland, who they detained illegally because he had a legal right to be here. Now they're bringing him back from El Salvador and have created, because at first he was supposed to be a part of this gang, right? But no, he's not a part of the gang. Now they're creating a whole charge of human trafficking charge on him. So they're bringing him back so they can charge him, so they can go through a farce of a trial. And they've already said, Pam Bondi stood there with her mouth and said they're gonna send him back once he's convicted. How you know he's gonna be convicted, boo? Like, what are you doing? Like, are you gonna have a jury trial? How you know he's gonna be convicted? So basically, you're saying you're gonna do everything within your power to lie, to create a situation where you're going to get this man incarcerated. Are you kidding me? Right. No, but that is what they're doing. And so people wonder, well, why are people protesting? These are all the reasons why people are protesting. This insanity. I know I said a lot. I'm gonna let you talk, sister.
I mean, it's fine. You said a lot. You usually do, but it's all good. I was going to say that the situation that you were speaking of, where they were chanting shame, was in San Diego.
San Diego. Okay, I think it was a place in Ohio, somewhere in Ohio too, because the restaurant closed, so their employees would not get taken away.
Well, everything. Well, what I was looking at, it said San Diego neighborhood of South Park. Yeah. So anyway,
oh, that's my friend Sherry that's watching. You see, I got a cup that says "Finest Wine," Sherry, like you, girl. Cheers.
Here's what I'll say. So yesterday I got a text, editor working on Thibodeauville, and he and I, he was saying, he mentioned about what was happening in the Los Angeles area, and I hadn't really had the news on this weekend, so I was a little bit out of the loop. And then he was saying, yeah, National Guard is being called in, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wow, it really is reminiscent of what Patty Whitney was talking about during Thibodeauville, which is, turning the militia on your own people. And that's exactly like that's what happened in 1887, right? You called in the state militia. You wanted the state to send in the militia to deal with people who were protesting their rights. They have the right to protest, protesting for better wages in that case. Now, here you have people who are protesting the fact that, I mean, I am just dumbfounded by the fact that this is their indigenous land. They are indigenous to this land. Their ancestors are indigenous to this land. So you're telling people in California that they cannot, you're having ICE raid their homes, their churches, anywhere they are. Mother holding her child being stripped out of her arms. And now, to add insult to injury, you're bringing in the troops that I believe we all pay, including those people, because nobody's not paying taxes, right? This whole lie about folks not paying their fair share of taxes and all this stuff. No, those people are paying taxes, and talk about taxation without representation, right? So the very folks that we are funding, you're using the militia, you're using the National Guard, you're now suggesting that you would use the Marines to, and you're turning them on your people.
Mm-hmm.
You're turning them on citizens of the United States who are protesting what they see as an injustice. And it is an injustice because you're the same person. I'm going to try to use good words. You're the same person who just let 49 folks from South Africa, white Afrikaners, come over to this country without nary a piece of paper. You're the same
Mm-hmm.
person who wants to use our military. They are preparing for a parade for this fool next week.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's dumb. I am dumbfounded at the idea that more of us aren't completely outraged.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that the people who are being selected, because it's very selective, because it has nothing to do with being here illegally, because we already know that there are large communities of people who are here illegally, who've overstayed their visas, etc. So you have people who are being,
That's how Elon got here. He overstayed his visa.
and he's
Come
not
on,
the only one, and that's why it's so it's I don't know how else to say it, but again, as the saying goes, when they came for whoever else, I did nothing, and now they're coming for me, and that's the thing. These people are unscrupulous, and they have absolutely no desire to do the right thing. So if they're coming for other people, they will come for us.
man.
Will not care that we're American citizens, that we built this land, that we've been, our ancestors have toiled for hundreds of years without making a dime. They will not care about any of that.
Yeah. And that's part of why the attempt to erase and no, again, you can't erase something that's always been here, but there's an attempt to erase whether it's history and books and education and across all of these platforms and organizations. That's why there's an attempt to, okay, well, we not have these books, not have this, to do all of that because without knowledge that we shall perish, right? And
Yeah.
so therefore if you try to get rid of all of these methodologies of having information and knowledge and true understanding, then it makes it easier for the indoctrination and the infiltration and the abuse to take place because people are like, oh, well, we've always done that. No, we haven't always done that. Stop it.
Right.
Right. So
And
it's
you
crazy.
just talked about something that just triggered something. That's why I was pulling this up about. I don't know if you heard about last week or so that the woman on TikTok suggesting that Harriet Tubman wasn't real and that
Girl, when I saw that girl, I was like, we talked about fighting the air today in our Sunday school lesson. I mean, ooh,
right. And so
because her real name was such and such, and she took the name of her husband. Girl, I was like, okay, and what are you saying, fool? We know this because we studied history. We know who she is.
right. But just talking about the erasure, just talking about the oppression and talking about, and it's always so baffling to me when we feel like we want to participate in our own oppression. I don't understand that.
I don't know who the we speak of, but it ain't me, boo. I'm gonna tell
Well,
you
I'm
that
not
right
saying
now.
me as in me.
Listen, but I'm saying all skin folk and kin folk. Holla if you hear me. Hello.
We know, but
Oh, so speaking of, and this kind of ties in, we're in love with the Coco. Go Coco, go Coco. So yesterday, one Miss Coco Gauff, she won the French Open. This is her second major or of the slam tournaments that she has won. We're so proud of her at 21 years old to have made this achievement. She's a beautiful exemplification of excellence, of you know, God fearing, steadfast belief in faith. And she mentioned her faith. Her mother talked about it. They talked about how even what 2 3 years ago when she did not win,
Mm-hmm.
and overcoming that, and just kind of like the mental hurdles and all the things that you have to go through to persevere, and that was beautiful. And her opponent, so shout out to Coco first. Let's do
Shout
that.
out to Coco.
So her opponent, who was currently ranked number one, you know, a few things. For first of all, she's from Belarus, so she's Belarusian. So if you notice, like, in the Chiron on the screen, it showed, their names, and there was a flag next to Coco name, but then next to her name there was no flag. So I don't know what that means in terms of like the sanctions that are currently on the country of her country of birth or her country of origin, or what that might mean. But I was like, that's interesting, head scratching. But she talked about how the conditions were bad, and how, well, she didn't really beat me because she beat me because of all the mistakes I made, something
Right.
of that nature. Paraphrasing. I'm paraphrasing, people. You can go look it up for yourself.
I'm looking at it right now.
Go ahead, read it then. This was
She
her original statement because she has now put out a new statement.
because they always, I think it was more windy. Also, I think I was over emotional. Sabalenka said today I didn't handle myself quite well mentally. Basically, that's it. I was just making unforced errors. I don't know. I have to check the statistics. I think she won the match not because she played incredible, just because I made all of those mistakes.
Boom, that last sentence right there. I think she won not because she played incredible, but I made so many mistakes. And she's right. But as I watched the match, because I watched the entire thing, the first match,
Well,
or the
clarify
first,
what she's right about. You said she's right. She's right about what?
she's right about the conditions continuing to get worse as they played. She's right about the fact that all up until this point, they had played with the dome closed. But
Mm-hmm.
on their final, they decided they're going to open up the dome, and they got 40 miles per hour wind gusts going on.
Okay.
So
But but
but they
Coco
played
was playing under those same conditions though, right?
precisely the point. And that's what Chris Everett was like. Chris Everett. Well, now she's back to calling herself Chrissy. I'm like, what? Why at 70 you won't call yourself Chrissy? And but
Don't hate on
when
Chrissy.
you were 50, you was like 15, and you was Chrissy, but now you Chrissy again. I don't know, girl. Anyway, Chris Everett was like, but they both was playing in the same conditions, girl. What you talking about? Like, excuse me? Like, are you really gonna say that? And was it an attempt to diminish? Is it so deeply ingrained, the superiority, the belief of our inferiority, that you could even suggest that? Because of course now we have a new statement. I don't know what you say. What say you, sister?
Yes.
That's it. Yes, that's it.
I mean, listen, one could probably say, well, English is probably not her first
It
language.
is not.
Thus, perhaps when she took the words and put them together into a sentence, she didn't recognize that
How
they're
it was going to come across. And
how it
yes,
come
she
across.
was very emotional. She was acting up. She was acting a plum fool. But again, the wind was taking her balls to where they were not before. But again, that first set, because it's 3 sets. In that first set that she ended up winning, like she was up 4-1. Then Coco came back, and she had so many errors. Like she had more unforced errors, more double faults than Coco had in that first set, and she still won it in the tie break. So even in the hard conditions and in the difficulties, you still won. right? She won that first set. So it's like, chill out, girl.
Or it's like we can be better than y'all. Like I am so tired of people acting like if they lose, it is because the system had to be rigged. The conditions had to be not, they weren't there. Like y'all was playing on the same court and the dome
On
was
the same court, the same girl.
like the sun shined the same way, the wind blew the same way. Like it is sometimes newsflash, black people can be better than you. And I don't know why that is such a hard thing to believe. And I get mad about that because that was one of the things, like I always talk about when I remember taking this class, this diversity class, and this young woman was talking about how, oh, she didn't get this job and how her boss was like, we just had to hire, they had to have a diversity hire. And like, and I'm just like, that was so easy for you to believe. Like they told you I had to give this person the job. And because that person was black, you were like, no wonder I didn't get it. Because they had to give it to her. No, it was, and they know that about they know in your mind, white supremacy is so ingrained that they could tell you, hey, we had to give it to her. And you would have accepted that much better than you would have accepted if they had just said, you know what, she was just better than you.
She's the better candidate.
She was better than you. She was smarter than you. Her GPA was higher. Her resume was better put together. She answered the questions. It's just so easy. And that's what infuriates me, because sometimes you lose because you weren't better that day. Period.
Well, she rectified her statement and said, yesterday was a tough one. Coco handled the conditions much better than I did and fully deserved the win. She was the better player yesterday, and I want to give her the credit she earned. You all know me. I'm always going to be honest and human in how I process these moments. I made over 70 unforced errors, so I can't pretend it was a great day for me. But both things can be true. I didn't play my best, and Coco stepped up and played with poise and purpose. She earned that title. Respect. Time to rest, learn, and come back stronger.
And again, water is wet. Typically, if you lose, it's probably because you didn't have the best day and that person had a better day than you did. And that is not news. So you should have just been gracious, say some nice things, and then go act a fool in your hotel room where nobody can see you, girl. Anyway. And then don't try to feel like you got to give me nothing after the fact. I already know I won. So you doing that for you. You ain't doing that for me. Anyway, girl, next. We love you, Coco Gauff. We're so proud of you. And we want to continue to see you thrive and strive in your tennis career, but also just as a fabulous young woman.
In life, girl, do that thing in life. And New Balance gonna make some money, and you gonna make some money too, girl. I might need to go get me some New Balances.
I know. They have the customized ones, and I've seen a few people customize the New Balance for like their school colors and stuff, and I like them a lot. So
yeah. All right, y'all. We are going to first, so let's get into some of this pop culture. Like we said, we haven't been on for a while and talked about any of these productions, and y'all know we love a good production. So
I don't know. I can't even remember if we've talked about
I don't think we talked about Sinners, girl. So listen, my girlfriend is here and she is watching Sinners for the first time. It is now available on Amazon Prime for purchase. I don't know when it will be available for not purchase, but let me just say,
it was purchase or rent.
Purchase or rent. I mean, that's still you gotta put some money.
I mean,
okay.
Yeah, so rent.
Yeah, rent or buy.
I don't ever have a license for indefinite. So
No, but you can buy it and then you have it on your Amazon Prime account.
You can. Okay. All right.
Yeah, whatever. Um Michael B. Jordan, who knew Lil Wallace was gonna grow up to be all of this? But I love Sinners. I can't remember if we talked about it, so we're not gonna spend a whole lot of time dwelling on it.
I feel like we must have some.
We had to sometimes. We talked about it so much, but now there's if you go, you can find there's even a book already written about Amazon about Sinners on Amazon. Listen, I love the movie. I still love the movie. Anybody who didn't love the movie, that is your choice and your preference. But the symbolism, the storyline, the acting, the attention to detail from the historical aspect, so many things. It's beautifully shot, beautifully done. The actors are beautiful and glistening and shining like they got shea butter mixed all over their body. Girl, I just love everything. Okay. Sinners for the win
I
from
love
me.
it too. I made that face. If anybody sees it later, I made that face because of what we were talking about in the pre-show. And it's like attention to detail is important.
Mm.
We'll get on that afterwards. But
Oh, the attention to detail, like minute details. Like you can go search the Delta and learn about the Chinese and the Delta and how they had stores on one side of the street that service the white people and the one on the other side that service the black people. You can learn about the currency from working in the fields, not having real money versus having plantation coins and all of this. Baby, it is so so good. And then the Irish, and then the connection with the Irish culture. It's like so so good. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. That's all
it
I got.
is great. I do feel like we had this conversation because I felt like it was far east of south or something was the documentary about the Chinese migration
The
to
Delta.
I really do love Sinners, and I really do love that Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan have such a close relationship. But Jessica and I talk about all this stuff a lot, and we talk about the fact that Ryan Coogler has been working with some folks for a long time. One being Ludwig Göransson, his composer, and so I was listening to their podcast, In Proximity, and he talks about how so Ludwig grew up in Sweden. His father, loved Mississippi blues, and that he learned to play the guitar, but that was more about him having bonding time with his father. Not necessarily he just wanted to play a guitar, but he wanted to bond with his father over that. So ultimately they decided that they were going to take this blues tour, what have you. And so then, Ryan was like, well, could he come along on the blues tour? So I'm just tripping out how I did not know they was in New Orleans all that time. Because ain't nobody told me nothing. But because I could have ran down there and been a vampire or something.
I mean, something. I mean,
but yeah. So he was saying how he went on that the tour because they have a few little tours, Natchez Trail and Natchez Trace or whatever trail, all this stuff. And so I was just like, I have so much respect because he was saying Ryan Coogler was saying how basically this also was for his uncle. His uncle passed away, I think he said right before he finished Creed 2, I believe it was. And that he had this voice message that his uncle left him, but he was like, his uncle loved the blues and Beyonce. So he would listen to Beyonce. But other than that, he listened to the blues. And so how this was, and he was very close to this uncle. So this was also sort of a not a love story, but a connection with his uncle. But one of the things that struck me, of course, it starts in 1937, I believe, and it ends in 1997 or 32 and 92, something like that. It's 60 years, what have you. And so Ryan was saying how at that time, when he was listening to hip hop, like most of us, 90s hip hop, and it was like Meet Me at the Crossroads and Biggie's Life After Death. And He talked about DMX and Damien and all of these different songs that were really about the afterlife and
Mm-hmm.
and just the crossroads and all of these things, and how the same things he was listening to in these rap songs were the things that were being talked about in his uncle's blues songs. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, that's why it was such a perfect juxtaposition between the 1930s and the 1990s. And I love that he it was able to make that connection, because I don't think we really make that connection enough. Obviously, we know about the amazing scene where we have the music from the past and the present and into the future,
Future. Mm-hmm.
and how, that was meant to show the influence of our
Mm-hmm.
music on all these different cultures. But I just thought that was a beautiful connection too, between Ludwig and his father, as well as Ryan and his uncle, through
Well,
music.
y'all go watch Sinners. If you haven't seen it in a movie yet, if it's still available in the movie theater where you are, go see it in a movie theater, because I will tell you that whole cross-generational musical scene is so amazing. I mean, watching on the TV is great, but watching in the big screen was like mind blowing. And I had, I don't know if y'all got the reference to the roof was on fire. Like there was so many references and symbolism. It was crazy. Okay. Forever,
Oh,
forever, forever on Netflix. So this series had us in a stranglehold. You hear me? Um, Mara Brock O'Kill did this series, which is a influenced by the uh, Judy Blume books Forever. Judy Blume, great novelist, young adult novelist of my era, of my youth. But she wrote this book about first love, called Forever. And so using that theme, Mara Brocco Kill modernized it, made it for young black young people. I won't even say young adults because they were teens. And I don't know, girl. Why did Forever have us in such a stranglehold? Were we just being nostalgic? I don't know. I loved it.
I loved it as a film. I wanted to punch these young people. I love the series. And I'm looking because I was trying to get his name. I just recently learned about a fellow Southernite who is a writer on Forever. And I learned about it through my editor, who's a fellow Southernite. I mean, like Southern University be everywhere, by the way.
Mhm.
So I did really enjoy Forever. The music was great too.
Oh, baby, the
I
soundtrack.
want to
Who
go back.
did the soundtrack? Let me look that up.
I want to go back to soundtracks that are meaningful. And even though I can't go and buy a CD or anything, I guess I can still get some stuff on wax. But I was like, this has to have been based on her experiences. I'm sure an amalgamation, right, of
Yeah.
young people, and an amalgamation of parents, and amalgamation of
So
situations.
the music supervisor is someone named Kier Lehman. Let me see who else, honey, because they did that.
The music was great, but I think what I loved about the story was like we all reminisce on that childhood young love, as Tina Marie once.
Young love, when you wanna grow old on me now. Come on, Tina, Tina. Okay,
But
I'm being a little extra. I know.
I will say I'm so happy that my formative years were absent
Social media.
social media and cellular devices and all the things, because to think about how different I mean, it's like, child, we had low self-esteem and we didn't even have to deal with all of this stuff. I can't even imagine somebody, if you haven't seen it, I'm gonna just have to spoil it for you. I cannot imagine somebody taking an intimate moment, even if I'm a young person, taking an intimate moment, sharing it with somebody else, and then that person sharing it all around. And I
To
think
the
about,
globe.
huh?
To the globe, because once it
Globe.
goes on to social media, it's
Everywhere.
global.
Yes.
Baby, you is global. Okay.
And what impact that has on your life, your ability to go to college, your, the people who are able to be around you, right? But also think, because I even think about how this replaying over and over and over again of this video during this Diddy trial, I'm like, how traumatizing is that for the person who was in that video? Because I'm traumatized and I wasn't even there. And so I cannot imagine what it would be like to have had an intimate moment blasted all over social media or in friend groups and all of that stuff, and there's no take, it doesn't come back. So I'm so grateful not to have had to deal with those aspects of life. um, but that being said, it also made me realize, though, our young people don't really communicate very well.
No.
Our old people don't communicate very well.
I'm about to say, girl, don't put it on the young people. Human beings do
Human
not
beings don't
communicate
communicate very
very
well.
well. They
But
think
there's
just because they've spoken that they've communicated. You have not. Just because
but
you've
there's an
opened your mouth and said some words don't mean communication has taken place. Okay?
correct, but there's an added element of difficulty when you are typing and then erasing and typing and then erasing and then typing and then deciding to send a one word answer. Like,
And don't forget if autocorrect catch it, honey, because if autocorrect catch a word, child, because
oh,
you've had it catch you a time or two. If you called me and be like, that's what I think.
right. Yeah. So that was honestly one of my challenges, because I wanted to just be like, can y'all just call each other? Can y'all just sit down and have a conversation? Why we got to go all the way out to another state before we decide, let's actually meet up?
Yeah, we gonna go across the country.
Right.
Okay. Not around the block, not across town, but across the whole country. I don't know. But I loved Forever. I think it is worth watching. I'm excited that they already have a season 2. One of my challenges with these shows, because even like the show Jenny in Georgia that is back, I start to see because the people who are playing teens are not teens.
Right.
So and Jenny in Georgia, I was looking at one of the characters the other day, and I was like, "Wait a minute, baby boo, you are starting to look old now." And even the little boy who's the younger brother, I'm like, "You about as tall as the older sister now." Like this filming, the years in between, the time it takes. I'm like, I hope they get it in the can really fast, and the script is already ready to go
But I don't know
because
that it's going to be the same characters. I'm
I
wondering.
don't know because that's how she did Cherish the Day, where it was each season was a total different makeup of characters.
Right.
So but that only had 2 seasons. That was on OWN, also by Mara Brock Kill. Love that got canceled. That got canceled once her husband got caught up in some stuff. So I don't know where it's going to land, but I also hope that, like we said, that if they do continue with these characters, that they get them in the can quickly because that maturity sets in and you start looking at some of these characters and you're like, you are 40 playing a 16-year-old. Like, it's like, gotta
Probably
stop.
not that bit bad, but I did see, what is it, Michael Cooper Jr.
Well,
is.
on Jenny in Georgia, the young lady is 33 playing a senior in high school.
Oh, that's a stretch.
And then on the show, on my block, the young lady was like 40 playing like a high schooler. So it's like, y'all gotta finish these shows while these children still fresh because
It don't seem like they were fresh to start with, but okay.
the fresh in the face, you gotta it can change very quickly.
Right. Well, because again, Michael B. Jordan grew up real quick on us and got real fine real quick.
Listen, Lil Wallace ain't the same as Lil Wallace from the Wild. I'm just saying. Cheers.
All
Cheers
right,
to you.
we got 10 minutes to discuss your next show.
Well, we had to put this into the hot topic. Another Tyler Perry production. So right now on Netflix, the movie Straw was just released. He also has She the People. He also has Beauty in Black. I don't know what the deal is with Netflix. I know BET just dropped that he's gonna have, because we know they're sisters. Now they're gonna have divorce sisters.
Mm-hmm.
So Tyler Perry is Tyler Perrying, and y'all keep watching. We keep tuning in,
Well,
and
all of us wasn't necessarily going to tune in, but continue.
okay. So if you haven't seen it yet, you want to tune out for this part. But I just, as I said, what in the John Q Sixth Sense was this uh, movie? It is what it is. So much, like you said, happened in the first 20 minutes, and I was doing in and out on the first 20 minutes while my folks was watching it, so I missed a few things, and I was like, um the weird conversation reminded me of the weird conversation at our conference, because my girl, oh my gosh, what's her name?
Sherry Shepherd? Oh,
Tiana
Tiana Taylor.
Taylor. That wig, that wig, it kind of was, it was better than the previous movies he's had. But then when the bank was in a strip mall, and then it was in a standalone building, and then when we was like, it was daytime and nighttime at the same time, I was like, Tyler, I need you to hire some editors. I need you to get some attention to detail in some of the things. Now, one attention to detail, because her hair was kind of blown out straight, but then she got caught in the rain, and so when her little hair was curly, I was like, they got that one right. That was good. That was good. Um, I mean, the keys being in the door and being not in the door, and it's just little things that you notice when you pay attention to productions. However, I will say this, in light of how we opened this conversation about ICE, about the debauchery in our federal government and in our systems, and the harm that is causing people in their lives with the taking away of Medicaid, um, because Medicaid is for the poor, it's health insurance for the poor and indigent, and 40% of American children are on Medicaid. Now, just take that in. 40% of children in this country receive their health care because of Medicaid benefits. And with that being jeopardized and threatened, it becomes very clear why people protest, why they're out and enraged and up in arms, why people can lose it and have a mental health break from reality, because they are under so much pressure and stress, with jobs being on the line, with healthcare being tied to jobs, with school lunches not being able to be paid, all the things, free and reduced lunches being cut in school, all the things that are happening. The sentiment behind the movement is very clear and very understandable, and very enraging if you are watching what is unfolding in our country right now. So I'll say that. And I was happy to see, we know the comedian Sinbad suffered a very debilitating stroke. I was happy to see, because one thing about Tyler Perry, and like what he said, Tyler Perry is going to Tyler Perry, he is going to put some people to work. And to treat that man with dignity and give him work, and he probably paid him well, I say, hats off, my friend, hats off.
So yes, I agree with everything you said there. At the end of the day, I think, somebody posted something like, if you looked at this movie and you were outraged about what was happening on the screen, but you overlook your sisters that are dealing with these kind of things on a daily basis, that's a problem. And I think, the message that one of the characters said, people don't know how expensive it is to be poor.
Mm-hmm.
That was very poignant. I think overall it was an acknowledgement that women, Black women specifically, are carrying a lot of stuff on their shoulders in order to make sure that they themselves, along with their children, are doing well. And
Mm-hmm.
doing well is not always doing great. It is
Mm-hmm.
legitimately on that line, on that very fine line that depending
The
on how.
fine line between sanity and insanity. The fine line between, um, you know, eating and not eating. It's a very fine line.
It is a fine line that, depending on how the wind blows, you could be on either side. And so I think it is a reminder that all of us are just one major catastrophe away from a complete break.
Mm-hmm.
Like the bottom could fall out at any moment
Mm-hmm.
for most of us, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's also unfortunate though. This one of the scenes in the beginning where she was at work and she had to deny another sister from buying certain things on WIC. Like there's only and that's the truth, right? Everything
Mm-hmm.
can't be purchased. That is something else that's happening actively right now. So understanding that he filmed this in 4 days, I understand, because he was really trying. I'm sure he was trying to pull in a lot of these themes that we're talking about right now. And so with WIC, they're saying, even more things are going to be pulled off this list.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we do it in under the guise of wanting people to live healthy, but it is expensive to live healthy as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and some people will say, no, it's not, it's the same, but it's not the same, because again, there's only so many things you can buy. But so to see that man then throw that bottle at her, that
Mm-hmm.
just felt so disrespectful to me, because it's like, that's unfortunately how we treat each other. And it's like, damn, we all going through it. I'm trying to do my job. I'm trying to keep my job. We're all going through it. And so, like, why can't we show each other a little bit more kindness?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That said, this is probably one of his better movies. So let me say that for me.
My favorite is The Family That Prays, y'all. Y'all, you need to go watch that one, sister.
I watched it. I don't remember it like that. I recognize that I am not the target audience for the typical Tyler Perry film. And I'm okay with that. And Tyler is okay with that, because Tyler has already made whatever comments he gonna make about us. That ain't a part of the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, in the first 17 minutes, I would have gone ahead and become a prostitute. I'm sorry. Like, because what are we doing? That was a lot of stuff in 17 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from the start of the film to 17, everything captures all this stuff presented by, to 17 minutes in. Her day was really bad. It was really, really bad. Let me not say the prostitution thing, but I was just like, how do you get out of that kind of situation?
Mm-hmm.
Because everything bad was happening all at once, literally. It's an interesting film, but like I said, I think to your point, the sentiment is there. We understand the sentiment, but
the sentiment, the emotion, what it's trying to capture in that space, it captures it.
And I'm gonna say this. It's hard for me to look at Tiana Taylor cheekbones and be like, she was a detective. I'm like, them cheekbones is cheekbone and them eyebrows is eyebrows. Says, what detective salary is you on? Because you is beat down, hair just blowing in the wind at all times. She got real when she had to cuss that man out at the end. I said, oh, okay, I see it now. I see you, detective. But before that, I said, well, ma'am, I'm not sure that
Ma'am, come on, ma'am. But again, also again, undermining that black woman's experience. Her having to like, let me take this call. Yeah, she was talking about personal experience, but like she said, listen, I was a negotiator in the military. Like y'all just looking at me with the hair laid, with the eyebrows, and you don't know who I am. She had to do like T.I. When you see me in the streets, remember you don't know me. Who you talking to, man? And she had to tell that to the brother first. That part.
yes. She
How
had
about that?
she did have to tell it to the brother first, but then the brother was also tested. The brothers were also tested as well. So, you know, um, again, I appreciate the sentiment. I appreciate Tyler giving the sisters props and everything, but it was a whole lot in 17 minutes. And I'm like, you didn't accidentally rob the bank. But
Girl,
then
my
you got to real set it off very quick because then it was like, turn this off, stop doing it. I said, well, hold on.
I was like, which movie are we in? Are we in John Q? Are we in Set It Off? Are we in The Sixth Sense? Like which movie are we in? Because we was in a lot of movies. We was also in a Medea movie with the elderly lady because we let that one man, he was like, well, I'm about to be out because y'all young people don't know how to act. Boom, boom. I mean, he was like, wait. And he just walked out. And the rest of y'all didn't walk out with him.
Yeah, there were some times that I didn't understand why we all didn't just take our chances with getting shot because everybody else left. So I'm gonna just run on out of here. But then again, then the door got locked. I don't remember when the door.
I don't, and then, but again, at that point, the key wasn't in the door. Yeah, the key had been left in the door when he left out. What y'all doing? I'm confused. I'm so confused. And the little one with her little fast mouth, fresh at the mouth, it was like, girl, you was getting on my last nerve. But you played your role well because you played the
But
role
she
of
was getting on my nerve, but you ain't had that energy when that woman said cash that check with that gun. You ain't have all that energy. So how
right.
you having all this energy? You could have just let cash that lady check. It was $521. If it was gonna bankrupt the whole bank.
But I had to have an ID. We got girl, you see me in here all the time. What are you talking about? See, when people do stupid stuff like that, ooh, girl, that just gets under your skin. But it happens.
Oh,
Because as we mentioned, Ryan Coogler,
right.
during the COVID crisis,
In
went to a
Atlanta.
bank in Atlanta and was trying to get a large amount of money out from his account,
The money he earned.
the money that he has earned from Fruitvale Station, Creed 1, Creed 2, Creed 3, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, the money he earned. That money, he probably was doing some filming, us getting ready, preparing, and paying somebody for this movie that we just saw in Senate. He probably was working on that at the time. Oh, y'all didn't want to give him his money, so we know how they work.
And they called the police too.
And they called the police on him too. Ain't that something? Girl, well, with that, y'all, we are tuning out. We hope you have enjoyed our conversations around these hot topics. We look forward to catching y'all. So, y'all have to stay tuned on, like I said, follow us on all the social media platforms. You see them listed here. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, whenever we are planning to go live, you will receive a notification if you have your notifications turned on, notifying you that, hey, sister is going to be live today. Facebook, Instagram, check us out. We're going to have some excursions this summer and be doing some things. So we'll probably just start dropping in a little more content on our Instagram channel, so you can enjoy some of the travels and trip outs of Hey Sister. So peace out. Have a good night.
Bye.